Good afternoon, Tobago. Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. And those of you viewing us from other parts of the world, welcome to today's media briefing, where we will provide you with updates on the Tobago Blue Food Festival as well as the Tobago October Carnival Celebrations 2025. The Blue Food Festival being this weekend, Sunday 19th October, and Carnival being next weekend from Friday 24th to Sunday 26th. I'm Patricia Nicholson Richards, and I'll guide you through this afternoon's briefing. So, at the head table today, we have the Secretary with temporary responsibility for culture and antiquities, Assemblyman Zarisha Hackett, Assistant Secretary Niall George, Tobago Festivals Commission Limited CEO Mr. Kern Cowan, and the Tobago Carnival Advisory Council Chairman Dr. Charleston Thomas. Let me invite the Tobago Carnival Advisory Council Chairman Dr. Thomas to address us first.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Tobago, and good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Special good afternoon to the media. So I will begin by talking about some of the work that we've been doing at the advisory level in relation to the preparation of the 2025 October Carnival. All right, as you may know, a team was put together by the Chief Secretary, and I am the chair of that team. We've been meeting quite regularly for the last month or so, more or less two meetings per week. And our role, as I identified in the first press conference that we had, is really to bring advice and guidance to the operations and management of the October Carnival. All right, and that would mean that we had to work very closely with the Tobago Festivals Commission Limited. Now, over the past 2 months, we've transitioned from advisory planning to active partnership with the Festivals Commission, working therefore very closely with other stakeholders and streamlining operations, clarifying mandates, and of course, guiding event designs. We have also been directly informed, helping to directly inform the decisions made at the TFCL level. And therefore the team has helped to bridge communication gaps between the TFCL, between community stakeholders, as well as between the TFCL and the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation. The purpose here, of course, is to ensure a unified approach and a unified vision in the way in which we plan and execute the carnival. We also draw specifically on the expertise of some of the members on the team in order to advise how the carnival proceeds. And we have some experts on the team in relation to logistics, in relation to infrastructural layout, and we've leaned very heavily on that expertise to actually inform what the carnival would look like on the ground in Scarborough. Our mission is pretty simple, and it really is to ensure that the carnival grows stronger and it actually has a more robust operational, artistic, and economic address. All right. I would leave it here for now and pass it on back to the host. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas. So we're going to move along to the CEO of the Tobago Festivals Commission Limited, Mr. Kern Cowan, for some more updates from him.
Good evening, good afternoon, one and all. Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the media, Trinidad, Tobago in Focus. Thank you so much for us being given the opportunity to serve you as we are currently doing. We are doing our best to give you a product that is not only just memorable, but unforgettable. And so Dr. Thomas would have, of course, started talking about the carnival product and how much has gone into it. And I want to kind of segue just a bit into what you can expect at Bloody Bay on Sunday the 19th, which is our Blue Food Festival. And please note that the Blue Food Festival is still rated number 9 in the Caribbean as one of the greatest culinary festivals in the region. So we have something to be proud about. Yeah. So this year we really wanted to focus on giving another memorable experience at the Blue Food Festival. And one of the things that, of course, was one of our shortcomings in 2024 was our logistical movements with our shuttle service, with our parking zones, and all of those things. So we focused in heavily in ensuring that we come up with a more robust support for those for patrons to ensure that the patron experience remains premium. We have since developed 6 parking zones to improve the number of cars that we can accommodate throughout the entire festival, starting with parking zone A, which is now inside of the venue itself, which is our first come, first serve arrangement. Once that car park is filled, we move to the Bloody Bay Beach facility, which takes another sequence of cars. Once that is filled, we go all the way back out to the opposite the Bloody Bay Anglican Church, and then we move again back out to the main road, which is Carrington Lot, which is the main road on the main road in Bloody Bay. Further to that, we have parking at the Palatuvere Community Center, Palatuvere Primary School, and we even have parking at the Roxborough Sid Gray Complex. And we have set up a schedule to ensure that everyone is taken care of, those who are coming into the space as such. Parking, of course, starts from as early as 8 a.m. And as I said before, first come, first serve. The event starts officially at 11 a.m., so you want to get in and be comfortable to experience everything that is about to take place on that day. So shuttles will start from 9 a.m. and will go throughout the day until 3 p.m. and locks off at 4 p.m. coming in. We're managing it going back out just the same way, where we have all of our shuttle zones labeled. So you'll see signage for all of the zones and their respective maxis that will take you back to those zones on the designated times, which will be returning at 6:30, 7, and 8 p.m. Specific to Roxborough, which is the Sidgway complex, we have 2 maxis which will be on that side, and they will leave at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. And they will return to Roxborough at 6:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. Additionally, because we really want to make sure we don't make any errors this year, we have a premium shuttle service from Market Square, and that leaves at 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. And this is being done by Mr. Washington. And those who are inquiring about that premium service, drinks included on this bus. All right? So Mr. Washington's number is 751-2009. And that carries a cost of $150 to go and to return. And the return is at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. It departs Market Square at 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m., 2 maxis each. And it takes care of, as I said, that premium service. Additionally, we also have PTSC, who also is going to provide a paid service going into Bloody Bay at 12 noon and return at 8 p.m. So we want to ensure that these things are done well so that people have a solid experience. We have increased our support in terms of managing it very scientifically. So we have road marshals, parking attendants, we have shuttle attendants to ensure that we can cater for everyone from a customer service standpoint. Again, premium service throughout the entire experience. The Bloody Bay Beach facility is also going to be outfitted with lighting. The car park's going to be outfitted with lighting and security, so you have everything taken care of at every point. So drilling back into the actual event, as I said before, it starts from 11 for comprehensive programming and, of course, a culinary experience like no other, featuring the Blue Food itself, where Dasheen is king. This year's theme remains Dasheen Land, so come to experience what that is. It's a family-oriented event, so you are going to have a kids zone. There are going to be things that all activities for family members can enjoy, and you will see experiences and different things from of course, the root crop Dasheen ice cream, the various food options that will be there. Come to experience those things, and you may even have some surprises as well, inclusive of the petting zoo. All right, the event is expected to, of course, close off between 7 and 8 p.m. in the night, and we are expecting a larger than usual number of people, so we are catering for additional shelter because we are having this festival in the rainforest. So don't be surprised if the rain falls. That's just what it is. The rain is going to be there, and it's going to be in the rainforest. It's part of our feature, and we enjoy it just the same. Yeah? We have some headliners that are going to be there at the cultural aspect of it, but the body of what this event would be will be strongly supported by our local artists who are going to be featured strongly throughout this entire programming from top to bottom. And we're going to close off the evening with the headliner show in Winchester and Farmer Nappy. You're also going to see local headliners from across the spectrum of Lansome, Palato Vere, and Bloody Bay, as well as artists from across all of Tobago, just the same. So come to experience a truly, truly integrated festival. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and then I'll come back and then talk about some deeper conversations relative to the carnival experience this weekend.
All right, thank you so very much, CEO Cowan, for those important updates relative to the Blue Food Festival set to take place this Sunday, 19th October. So we move on to the Assistant Secretary, Assemblyman Niall George, for some updates once again.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good day, members of the media, everyone looking on. Today I will be speaking on security and safety of all the participants in the Tobago October Carnival is of paramount importance to this administration. We are working behind the scenes, having regular security meetings with the Goal Commander and all the other relevant agencies where security is concerned, because I mean, sometimes we get lost in the euphoria of the carnival, and carnival has both positive and negative effects, unfortunately. So we are trying to mitigate all of the negative factors associated with carnival. We are imploring all of the bands to keep the decibels down when they are passing in the hospital area. We are trying to accommodate the church groups and so on, and the villagers that would be affected by the festivities. But I also like us to celebrate our panorama, which we will be having on Saturday, and how it has added to the carnival value. Because remember, when we initially started, everything was pretty much crammed into one weekend, and something that we have been working hard with the SIGs is expanding the carnival in the month of October. So we are going to have Panorama on Saturday and Blue Food on Sunday, and we know that these two festivals will feed into, well, these two activities would feed into one another. We are expecting a much larger volume of people at Blue Food because we know it would have a spillover from the Panorama, and as Mr. Cowan has just said, he has stated the many things that we have done to make sure that it would be safe and accommodating, and everything would be smooth. And as for the carnival itself, we have boasted and we have prided that Tobago Carnival is the safest carnival in the Caribbean, and we have been working behind the scenes very hard to make sure that these things happen. Also, we are asking for the public to be a little patient with us, because you would have noticed some works being done in and around Scarborough to accommodate the activities. There would be some traffic congestions. We ask everyone to be understanding and patient while these works go on, because they will benefit everyone after the carnival as well. So we are just asking everyone to get on board. As we go back to security again, please listen to the marshals, listen to the police officers. Let's have a fun carnival, but most of all, let's have a safe carnival. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Assistant Secretary George. So we move now to the Secretary with temporary responsibility for culture and antiquities, Assemblyman Zarisha Hackett.
Good afternoon, Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, and the world, because we know by now all of the world is viewing this 116 square miles and very excited to join us, if they've not joined us already, to be a part of what we call the Mud Mass Music. This is the theme of this year's carnival. As Secretary with temporary responsibility for culture and antiquities, the last month has been a very, very unique one. One where we had to buckle down and really get the work going with two major festivals, of course, our Tobago Blue Food and just running straight into our Tobago Carnival. And it has been a very, very exciting period for us, all of us here at the table. I just want us to recap on the activities that we've put out there in the public space, the activities we want your fullest support on Tobago, and we show up and we show out to ensure that all of Trinidad and Tobago is proud of this product that we've developed over the last 4 years. You know, we spoke to the PAN, but Assistant Secretary George, we have the Monarchs of Mass on Friday, and that jump starts the Carnival activities in a real way. And of course, Market Square, which we've dubbed Carnival City, comes alive from Friday night as we have the Monarchs parading in the center of our capital. And then after that, of course, Pan Omega, you know, brainchild of the Tobago House of Assembly in collaboration with Pan Trinbago to ensure that it's the last major Pan activity of the calendar year before we start off national carnivals again. And so we look forward to that, and we're inviting all of Tobago, come out because the rest of the world is going to be there. So we, as the host of such an activity, need to be very present and demonstrating that true Tobago hospitality. And then the bumper weekend continues, Blue Food. And you said 11 a.m. start, and a lot of Tobagonians don't know that that's the start. We try to make our way up there, you know, beyond that midday hour. And for the first time, let me say, I'm going to be up there from very early. Of course, the additional responsibility requires that of me, but I think we miss most of it when we get up there closer to sunset. And I want to be a part of everything, from being a part of what a service provider, suppliers, or artisans or craftsmen would be supplying and demonstrating the true talents and artistry there, to the petting zoo and everything that's Dasheen land. And as you said, Dasheen is king, everything Blue Food. And so we're going to be up there demonstrating our culinary expertise as an island. Let me make a plug now for the Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute under the purview of the Division of Education, Research and Technology, and with some nice overreaching gaps to be extended to the Division of Tourism. And that bridging up the gap, they're going to be out there in true Tobago fashion, demonstrating their ability to be good hosts and to also be good culinary experts. Moving on from that, we have a little break Monday as it relates to the actual activities. Of course, that doesn't mean that the action and excitement on island ends. We have a bumper season of fetes and all the activities that would bring persons to our shores. And the Tobago Promoters Association have been doing an excellent job at marketing the events under their purview. We had a major event last night, and we have several events already passed, but coming up in the next week, so many activities to suit everyone's taste. They're all-inclusives, they're cooler fetes. We have boat rides, we have events. There was one, a very unique one that passed over the weekend, that moving around the island in the buses, and yes, and a ride along, and it was, I didn't experience it, but from what I'm getting, Tobagonians are very interested in that type of unique activity, and the creativity is coming out of our event promoters, and I want to commend them there. Wednesday, Soca Titans. And so Carnival City comes alive once more, defending champion first, and he has 8 other contenders, yes, coming for that crown, and we know it's going to be a super exciting, competitive event, and we look forward to that. Of course, we're going to motivate and encourage all of Tobago artists to go out there and give up their best. We look forward to that again, Carnival City. Thursday, Calypso Monarch now, and that's where Tuco takes center stage. But before I do that, we have our Carnival Yard up at Fort King George on Tuesday night. And of course, I must make a plug for that. Over 25 Calypsonians are going to be on stage. We're going to have guest performance by Lord Nelson there as well. And so that's more of a family event. We're encouraging our families to bring children, auntie, nene, and everybody out as we continue to celebrate Calypso History Month. So jumping back to our Calypso Monarch, of course, competitors are there, tuning up, getting ready to give you the best show as it relates to Calypso. And again, we're celebrating Calypso History Month in truest form and fashion. and Tuco is prepared, ready, willing, and able to demonstrate the talent that comes from our Tobago soil. And we're going to look forward to that. And then, of course, fantastic Friday in the Tobago sense of it. Looking forward to everything that is going to come into place as we get ready for Juve Saturday morning. Starting from what time, Mr. Kawan? 4 a.m. Tobago, not Tobago, 4 a.m., eh? 4 a.m. We start from our shopper complex. And of course, Mr. Kawan, I'm going to ask you once again to just reiterate the route. A lot of persons have been asking for us to put some visuals up. And I have been actually advocating for that as well. We need the visuals up. We can't take it for granted that persons know the route, our route for Juve, our route for night mass, and of course our route for the parade of the bands on Sunday. And so again, Saturday night, that's where we're going to have a dual celebration. We're going to have a pan and powder. We're going to have a pre-pump for the night mass occurring alongside that. And then we're going to move into the streets of Scarborough for that night mass celebration. There are other events occurring on the island as well because, of course, in the east, a new addition. Of course, we want to ensure that the east is always represented. And as I'm saying that, I missed out a major one, Rocks Glow on Thursday night, which gives Tobago a choice. So you can be in the center, taking in the Calypso Monarch, or you're going to be in the east. We have a lot of work to do on that night, Mr. Cowan, because we have to make our way to both activities, but of course the choice is there, and a choice again on Saturday night. And as we continue to develop the product, we're going to see where's the best fit. Of course, this carnival is still in its infancy, and so we're tweaking as we go. We're listening to our stakeholders. We're listening to you, the people of Tobago, and we're going to get it right eventually on Sunday, Parade of the Bands. And it begins with the traditional mass, and that starts at 10 a.m. And we want to encourage you as spectators to come into Scarborough. We're going to make all the accommodations necessary for you. Children can take in this celebration as we help them understand the culture, the history of our beautiful island. We're making the preparations and accommodations for spectators to view comfortably from the sidelines. We've also made lots of preparations for small businesses, including our vendors, to be able to come and ply their trade in a very safe space to ensure that, you know, of course, you're able to make some much needed resources in this time. And then in the afternoon, although we're saying in the afternoon, we're actually having those bands assemble at the starting point at Shaw Park from as early as 11 because we want a smooth flow of the bands across our streets of Scarborough. The gaps became an issue, and our stakeholders and our spectators complained in the past about the lag time and about the gaps in terms of that flow. If you're a spectator and you come into Scarborough, you don't want a dull moment. And so we've done a little different route for the traditional mass so we can merge both parades in a smooth and fluid way to ensure that there are no gaps in the spectator's experience. And again, I'm going to defer to Mr. Cowan to speak exactly to the route. And then we bring the curtains down by midnight of that night. Chief Secretary would also speak to what happens on the Monday, Tobago. We have a surprise for you on the Monday, but we want you to know that we want the experience to be one that all of Tobago is proud of. We want you to understand that it's your product. Whether you directly participate or not, it's your product, and we are all responsible for the branding of Tobago's Carnival. We also want to push our future dates out in that period. We want to conduct some surveys. We want to ensure that the experience, not only for spectator, but for masquerader, is one that lives up to expectation. And of course, that will be done through our ports of entry. And we want you as a Tobago population to understand that you are the host of this carnival, whether you're participating or not. And so we each have a responsibility to ensure that the tourists, because they are tourists coming into our island, ensure that they have the best destination experience, because it's more than the carnival. At this period, we're also selling the island to the world. And so we expect to be on our best behavior, customer service, on point, ensuring that the true Tobago camaraderie, hospitality, you know, what makes us us, is on display for all to celebrate and for all to appreciate. I also want to speak to a challenge, and I'm being preemptive here, that we continue to face as an executive council, one, and as the carnival directors or team leads here, and that is transportation to the island. We have not been able to make significant gains over the last 2 or so weeks. The conversations continue, but you must appreciate that there's some challenges right now administratively with Caribbean Airlines that are further compounding the issues we now face. And so we have been doing everything we can from this level. The letters have been written, the voices have been raised, the conversations have been had, and right now we're just hoping, I don't want to call it a miracle, I'm actually calling it hoping that this thing happens in the way that we know it should, because we have right now met capacity as it relates to what the port has done, and who has booked has already booked. But we have several persons right in Trinidad, in the Caribbean, along the regional front, and internationally, just hoping and praying that some flights open up. And it's one of the things that I wish we were not at this point still advocating strongly for, but it is what it is, and so the advocacy continues. I think that at this point, we need the assistance anytime now. It should have happened before, but we're still very hopeful that today, tomorrow, because influx happens over the weekend, and then we have some greater arrival needs coming in from Wednesday. More or less is that period where for sure you're a masquerader, you're heading to island, because it's that time when the distribution process occurs through our bands. But not only masqueraders, the artists that need to perform in our events are also challenged by, the lack of flights to get to the island. And I think that at this point, we've done everything we can do, and we're just hoping and praying for Caribbean Airlines to really answer the pleas and cries of us as Tobagonians, as an executive council, even more so, that we need these flights. I mean, even if we need to have the conversation about charters, that should probably even happen now, about actually having these flights. And, it's a pity, because for other periods on our calendar, we see flights becoming available for other activities. I think you would know what I'm talking about, and it seems to be so easy to be done. And for major festival, or most major festival at that, we continue to experience the challenges. But I'm going to remain hopeful. I hope the team also remains hopeful that something is going to happen in very short order to ensure that we can get as many persons to this island to celebrate with us. All right, so now, Mr. Common, can I just hand back over to you to take us through the route once more, and for us to speak specifically to what is to be expected in terms of some of the new activation points we have on the road, some brand new areas of focus for the masquerader and for the spectators of this show that we have been planning so hard for, and that we expect to roll out with much success.
Thank you, Secretary. So permit me to start, first of all, to give you a sense of what to expect at Pan Omega. Pan Omega is going to be in the heart of Scarborough, which is Market Square, what we call Carnival City. But it's going to be fenced off. There are going to be some disturbances in terms of traffic, because the entire port and waterfront becomes the Pan drags. Those who are Pan enthusiasts will know what that means. And then they come in from KFC into Market Square, into Carnival City, where we are going to have a larger than normal crowd space. So Scarborough in itself is going to be the central hub for all carnival activities in 2025, October. Yeah. So quickly switching to, of course, the route itself, starting first of all with the Juve route. Juve route starts at Shore Park Complex, Food Hub area, and moves towards the highway. You make a left turn on Orange Hill Road onto the highway, and then onto the highway all the way down to the traffic light, Wilson Road traffic light, into Scarborough, through Wilson Road between Market Square, all the way down to KFC, turn right again onto Calypso Rose Boulevard, which is Port Mall, Esplanade, and continues in a circuit direction. And that is Juve. The traditional mass, Juve starting at 4 a.m., not 6 a.m., not 7 a.m. Juve starting at 4 a.m., starts at Shore Park and ends at Shore Park. As I said before, in that circuit orientation. On Sunday now, starting at 10 a.m. is a traditional mass. That kicks off from the Coast Guard base, just after the Coast Guard base on the corner there, and takes the route into Scarborough, via the Esplanade all the way down to KFC, past KFC, Garden Side Car Park, comes around to Market Square and back down to the Coast Guard base. And bands are allowed to make as many routes as they can handle, right? And then we come back now to the contemporary mass, which starts at 11 a.m., also taking the same route as the Juve, starting at Shore Park, turns left onto the highway on Orange Hill, and then right again on the highway, passes Bishops, going down to Wilson Road traffic light, into Scarborough, Market Square, all the way down to KFC, turns right again onto the port, in front of the Port Mall, Esplanade, Waterfront. But what you should know is that it's not just a trek in a circle. It's about the experience on this trek. So there are significant activities to expect as you go along these routes. So for example, Market Square, which as I said before is Carnival City, is what we call a staging area. On the Wilson Road, you will have lights, action, confetti, cold sparks, different things that will excite all masqueraders as they pass, inclusive of the daytime fireworks, which was a hit in 2024. That remains and that returns. Market Square in itself becomes what we call a spectators viewing zone. So it'll be an area where spectators can safely be comfortably accommodated with seating, viewing, toilets, vendors, and can take in everything that passes on the routes during that time period, both Juve, night mass, as well as the contemporary mass itself. So you will have those things happening. Then also you will have another viewing zone, which would be in the empty lot next to Barcode, where you will have, again, seating and accommodation for all viewing patrons. You will have vendors, toilets, and accommodation for all. For the masqueraders, there's also a secondary, what we call staging zone on the waterfront, also to accommodate with confetti, CO2, lights, a whole heap of action on the waterfront that gives everybody a unique experience. And that still doesn't talk about everything else that are surprises that I will not say here, but for everybody to experience. Yeah, so I don't want to dominate everything. So let me allow Dr. Charleston to return to the mic for a bit, and then we come back down again.
When it's questions time.
When it's questions time.
Mm-hmm. Right. So as you can hear, we are ready for 2025 October Carnival. The place hot. The place hot, right? Getting to work this morning, there was a traffic build-up, right? And they're telling my people that the vibes is on, all right? Now I know there may be some concerns about how Pan go look in the market, in Market Square, right? Versus parade grounds, right? This year we couldn't do parade grounds, right? It's not out of the books entirely, but they said that couldn't happen. But I can tell you something. Come ready to be in Market Square for Pan. It will be big, right? Or I might have to try to look for space for people to breathe, right? Because it will be massive. And just before I came here, I was called by another team member who was just on the side checking on things and doing more measurements to make sure that we have enough space to jump, you know, to prance and to, you know, we just get on when Pan playing, right? So we are facilitating that. So I want to say this to the Pan players out there, all of you who may be concerned about Pan in Market Square, or just come and see how we are doing in Tobago. Just come and see how we just really get on here, right? We are ready for you. And I think we're good, sis. So you could ask us questions now. Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else from the head table? No? Yeah, good. Questions, okay. All right, so thank you once again to members of the head table for that comprehensive update for the highly anticipated Blue Food Festival and the Tobago Carnival. Secretary, I saw and heard the excitement. And as Dr. Thomas said, the excitement is there, right? So we open the floor to members of the media for questions. Of course, you know the drill. Just indicate if you have a question and we'll accommodate you. I am not seeing any member of the media on our Zoom, but we have in-house media. And you can go ahead. I'm seeing Tobago Channel 5. Right, you can go ahead, sir.
Well, I'm looking at the sustainability for Carnival. I remember in the budget they mentioned that there's a new tax on single-use plastics. And I know the recycling program in Tobago is on its last legs. I'm wondering if there's anything being done to mitigate the waste that would come from the festival, and also if there's anything being done to recycle costumes or anything else along that line.
Thank you for that question. I would let Mr. Cowan speak to how festivals is going to make sure that the place is well cleaned after, right? In year one, we actually started taking proposals for the greening of Carnival, right? It didn't go beyond the place that we had anticipated it would go, right? This year it's back on the in our conversations. So just last week I had an extensive conversation with another team member about the different ways we can now imagine Carnival to and where Tobago can lead in regard to the whole question of a safer and not just safer, sorry, a more environmentally conscious Carnival. All right. So in year one, the proposal that had come to us, we couldn't facilitate it at the time because it came too late. But one suggestion was for us to think about what would our music trucks sound like if they were greener, right? So that's a physics and an engineering conversation, right? Which we in Tobago would want to trigger, right, and lead in. I know last year we chose to use, was it last year or year before, something instead of the confetti. So there was a decision that was taken either last year or year before to use a material that was more environmentally friendly than the other. I don't have the specifics right now, but so we have been moving in that direction. My task as a chairperson is to make it more deliberate, right? So after we submit reports and we see what the October Carnival 2025 looks like in terms of people's experiences and so forth, my task will be to make that a very deliberate aspect of my report and submit it up to the secretaries and the executive council, right? So I want to say this very boldly. I don't know that National Carnival has yet had a conversation about the greening of Carnival. I want to say it here first. Tobago, it's been said in Tobago, right? And I want to say that this is not the first year. We said it in 2022, but as I said, we couldn't get as far as we wanted to get. I want to also put a plug in for this, right? We also have noise, right? How do we deal with noise? No, Carnival is a noisy thing. And noise also has an effect on us, not just an effect, right? I know of some young people who have been losing their hearing because of listening to things too loudly, right? So it is really a conversation. I think Assistant Sec did talk about, what was it?
Positive and negative.
Negative aspects of Carnival. I can tell you, last year I was asked to represent the THA on a Carnival conference in Trinidad, and part of my presentation was speaking about some of the damage of Carnival, right? And I specifically referred to some of the folks in Woodbrook, some of whom actually migrate out during the Carnival season because, you know, we just pee and thing on the fence, right? And bucklers break up in the yard, and you know what I mean? So there are things to consider regarding a better poised Carnival towards an environmentally conscious thing. And of course, antiquities is a new realm in the division. So we are very concerned about the way in which Carnival now will become ancient history for us, and have that greening as something that we started here in Tobago.
So to add to what Dr. Summers said, and that's why I spoke about it, behind the scenes, there's a lot of planning work that takes place that doesn't really come to the fore. That the fact that there is very little noise says that a lot of that planning and that mitigating takes place. We have to think about how the island would change, because remember, we would have an artificial population of upwards of 30,000 persons. How we deal with this? We have been having water problems naturally in the island. How are we going to deal with that in terms of the additional visitors? So a lot of these things are taken into consideration in the planning in terms of how it would affect persons. You know, the security officials would actually walk around in Scarborough to meet with the residents before the carnival. So it's not about just hoisting it on them. We have a very consultative process, and it is important for us to mitigate the factors, because any festival of this nature, there will be some sort of collateral effect. And it is our responsibility as an administration to make sure and mitigate these factors.
I think he had.
I want to add up one thing. I'm happy you asked that question. It means that Tobagonians are very concerned about the product. And we also want to open our doors to Tobagonians, environmentalists, persons just very conscious of the negative fallout or the negative impacts of the carnival to come to the fore. I mean, we're not all knowing as an executive council, as a team, and we want to be able to let you know that this is our product and we're building it together. So experts, persons who are just concerned, persons who have the information on the effects that any festival of this nature would bring, come to the fore. Present your proposals, bring your research and your evidence forward, and let's have the conversations to ensure that we build out a sustainable product, not only sustainable financially, but of course environmentally as well, which is very important to us, because at the end of the day, we have a destination to protect. We have an island that we have tourism as our mainstay, and because of that, we have to do everything while building out this festival. We have to ensure that we protect the island, one that we're pushing out as a very eco-friendly island at that. So yes, continue bringing the ideas forward. We welcome them.
Right, we're going to go to CEO Cowan.
Sure.
Thank you. So specifically as it pertains to cleaning for the carnival and the carnival routes, we have 5 areas that are designated zones. So zone 1 or area 1 will be from the traffic light, original traffic lights, to the Bishop's High School walkover. Then from the walkover to the Wilson Road traffic lights is another area. Then you have from the traffic light to KFC Wilson Road, another area. That's area 3. Then from the port all the way down to Coast Guard Base, another area. And then the Shore Park area is also the final zone 5. And we are working in conjunction with both the various divisions and areas of support through the THA as well as private organizations to ensure that we remain clean throughout this entire experience. It is a mammoth experience. We have also learned some from year 1, year 2, and year 3, what we need to do in terms of supporting that cleaning. There is a lot of waste that is produced in one route. So from Juve, you have to do a mammoth clean. From night mass, another mammoth clean. And from even just the traditional mass, there's that consistent cleaning that is required, both from spectators and masqueraders in actual real time. So it is a science that we are trying to buckle down, and we believe that we have a very good strategy going into 2025.
But masqueraders and spectators can assist by finding bins and being responsible with their waste as well, yes. And we're gonna call on our bands to take some of that responsibility up. I mean, everybody's enjoying themselves at that time and just trying to look for a bin in that moment. But, it's going to at least reduce on the work they have to do, especially in those close contact periods between, let's say, Juve and night mass. They have literally a few hours to get the space prepared again. And so we're calling on you, masqueraders and spectators, to assist us in keeping our island clean, serene, green. Yeah?
Yeah.
Dr. Thomas.
And I want to plug in for something a little bit unique. All them craftspeople who we have on the island, I am challenging you to make us calabash bowls ready for next year and the other year carnival, so that we will stop using Styrotex box in tongue. We have enough craftsmen on the island. You remember calabash bowls, right? Welcome now, man. Right, that's Tobago, right? So I would like to encourage that level of environmental friendliness. Even because we have successfully debottled Scarborough. Not so? For some of the events, we can't bring bottles, right? Glass bottles in Scarborough. So there's another way we could de-stereotype Scarborough, right? Make the calabash them and give away. Little one, medium one, big one, let me eat in the calabash. Let me do the thing, right? Yes. That's right. You know, so it's a challenge to the craftsmen on the island. We have work for you. All right.
All right. Any more questions from the media?
Tobago has long dominated the medium bands and the small band competitions. And Castanjama is moving to the big band competition. Now, earlier in the year, NGC pulled sponsorship from Steel Explosion. I'm wondering if the Assembly is getting involved in trying to get the state enterprises back on board, and what is being done to facilitate the creation of a pan manufacturing facility and pan tuning facility in Tobago, seeing that the pan is such a dominant part of the carnival.
Well, I'll start with the sponsorship, and we as an assembly has always supported capacity building in any form or fashion. We have dealt with SIGs in terms of training to attract sponsorship. So naturally we would deal with that. In terms of the pan making, that would be a private enterprise. And we have the business development unit, we have venture capital. All proposals are welcomed. And once your proposal has been evaluated and passed as successful, then you would definitely receive support.
To add to that, as Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, it has been one of our concerted efforts as well to push this through our education system. Goodwood Secondary, for instance, has the capacity for that. And so what we need are persons to be able to actually do the thing. So we can provide a facility as a Tobago House of Assembly and support it in that regard. But what we need are persons who are willing and able. And these are the days when you miss someone like Deuce, yeah? Yeah, these are the days but it's young people, you're playing the pan, but we want more persons to be able to do the tuning and the manufacturing. And you're very correct, because now that we have these polls from major sponsors, as a Tobago House of Assembly, it's our responsibility to be able to bridge that gap. But it's not bridging the gap just as a handout. We need to be able to empower our stakeholders to be able to, yes, you get that assistance, but see it as an investment. And you build on that investment yourself. And the empowerment should come from us in having them understand that it's not just a handout, a grant. You get it and you come for the same next year, even more, when you should be building and honing in on your craft. And so we will continue to give that training and development, continue doing the research that's necessary, and continue facilitating the development of our stakeholders. But that responsibility also lies in the stakeholders in putting themselves front and center and being able to, be there wherever you see the gaps there. And so, again, the ideas are welcome, but we want Tobagonians to become a bit more confident and robust in the conversations that we want to have with them, for them to be responsible for the markets that are now arising naturally, and understanding that now as a carnival destination, there are various fields that they can, get themselves involved in. There's a lot of money to be made right here, even through this festival. And so we're calling them out. Where the THA can provide the training and development, but you have to have that will to be able to want to be a part of it. So again, excellent question.
Additionally, right, the role of the advisory committee is to plan, to assess and see where things could be done better. And we have realized that we need to get an earlier start in terms of launching the carnival and signaling the intent of the carnival. That allows the potential sponsors to engage better with the SIGs, and that is something that we are indeed working on improving for Carnival 2026. The Chief Secretary also brought the major sponsors, all of them, to one table. That would have set a platform to signal the intent and the growth of the Tobago Carnival, and to show that it is something worth investing in. So therefore, we would have brought the pool closer to the SIGs, and we would have had them in one room listening to everybody at the same time. So those are some of the additional things that we have done to make it easier for the SIGs to engage sponsorship.
All right, thank you very much. We have Aliyah Balgobin, Tobago updates.
So we've seen infrastructure building space for vendors up at the Blue Food, up at Bloody Bay for Blue Food, right? In the past, there have been concerns about the drainage system. Can you touch on that along with the space for vendors? Is it that vendors have to tender a registration for this space, or they can just first come, first serve?
Well, so the contractor who is working on this site did an excellent job in preparing for major eventualities. So there are now underground drainage facilities that will allow for any heavy runoff to run off quickly into the adjacent stream, as well as to the front wastewater drainage. So from a water management point of view, wastewater management, it is well articulated. There are also underground trenches for electrical. So the site in itself is also currently equipped with both water and electricity. For the very first time, we have currently booths to accommodate physical booths to 22 vendors. And those vendors come from the area of Lansome, Bloody Bay, Palatouve. And we are also supporting with another set of booths that will allow you for, on the actual recreation ground, to have the craft vendors, 41 vendors on that side. And then food vendors, we have 38 vendors. You have everything for everybody. We didn't miss at all. So there is something for everybody. And the booths are lovely. They are wood cladded, and they are ventilated well, and they accommodate, as I said before, 22 vendors in a 10 by 10 space. And they are equally available across the space to accommodate all persons. Patrons will come to the front window to access what is required, and they purchase the stuff from the front and be able to accommodate by all vendors. Yeah.
All right, thank you. See you.
So we know Bloody Bay is known for Blue Food, right? Is it that you all are expanding for different cultural events up at Bloody Bay, seeing that the structures are there now?
Yes, this site would be multi-use. There would be different things that would now be able to be done at the site. I can see camping, as Secretary said, but I can see a wedding in the rainforest. That's what the site can do. I can see different other cultural events, parties, different things. Let your imagination take you on a journey. Don't be trapped by the fact that you see this venue as only the Blue Food Festival site. This is now another entertainment space that can be flexible for various different things.
Were there any new partnerships or initiatives going forward to help this long term? The Blue Food Festival.
The Blue Food Festival continues to be an evolving product. In its 27 years, we continue to partner with various sponsors, Amplia, B-Mobile, NFM, Bermudez, and various others who continue to really partner to build the product. From an international standpoint, we want to continue to bolster our presence and continue to have high-quality products available to everybody, that we continue to increase our ratings as a culinary festival to get to that place where we can be number one across the world. And I believe that we are on that trajectory as we continue to develop the site, the product, and the availability of what Tobago can offer.
Okay, going over to Carnival now for Ms. Hackett. How many kings and queens costume came from Trinidad, and how many are being taken from Tobago? Because mass band leaders.
Go ahead.
Respectfully, I think the CEO should answer that to the policy holders and makers.
Okay, that's no problem.
Yeah, so can I just defer to Mr. Kawan for
That's
this
no
question?
problem.
Thank you so much.
Mass band leaders saying that they are not being called, and they are being very concerned about that.
Firstly, mass bands have been called and are very much involved in large volumes. From year one, we have incorporated kings and queens winners from Trinidad. Winners from Trinidad, they play their part in the traditional mass parade. they are involved in that, and that gives the parade a different dynamic. Contrary to popular belief, there is no favoritism or a desire to just depend solely and wholly on Trinidad kings and queens, but we of course push our very own. The entire traditional mass parade is based on local mass bands, local cultural groups. They play their part just the same. As a matter of fact, we have over 15 of those bands who are playing their part on just that one segment of that parade. So there is no domination of Trinidad Kings and Queens, nor any domination of Trinidad mass bands, but we also have to be very wise in terms of how we bridge the gap that we can also be fair to all at the same time. Our focus remains very Tobago-centric in terms of pushing our local products, our local artists, our local artisans, and our local designers. Pay particular attention to the Monarchs of Mass. It's about local designers. It's about developing the next king and queen. That is what Monarchs of Mass on Friday night is about. And we have 21 participants for the Monarchs of Mass that will tell you that all of Tobago, all of the mass bands have.
All right, thank you very much. Channel 5 again.
The right now we have two carnivals, right? The Tobago and the National. I wanted to have some idea of if the intention going along is to continue to have two carnivals. And I remember in the first year, I think it was the soca or one of the calypso competitions sent the competitor right through to the finals. And there was a lot of talk about that, which I actually thought was great because it raised the profile of the Tobago Festival. I'm wondering if there's any intention going forward to maybe do something like that again, have the competitor go through the semis or something so that there's a connection between the National Carnival and the Tobago Carnival, that it would be like an incubator or raise the profile of the event.
So to answer the last question first, right? The Calypso Monarch is a two-coup event. We could have the conversation, but the final decision about taking the Tobago winner to the finals is one that two-coup holds all of the cards. We could ask, but the decision is at their feet, wholly and solely, up to them. In the first question in terms of the carnivals, that's a national festival that has been proclaimed by the central government, and we cannot stop carnival in the national sphere. What is that our discussion is how we support and what we support, because we keep on harping about it. NCC is responsible for National Carnival, and not 1 cent has been directed to Tobago for National Carnival festivities. That has always come from Tobago's allocation, and that is something that we are currently having conversations with NCC about, because it is now a situation where we are pretty much competing with Trinidad, which is the mother of all carnivals in the National Carnival space, and we have seen the results of that over the last year. So what we are trying to create is a situation of support the National Carnival in Trinidad, and they indeed do in turn come and support us in October. So we have to work on that, but that is also a conversation that we have to have with the people of Tobago. That is not a decision that can be made lightly. We are aware that it's almost impossible to maintain both festivals. We are bursting at the seams, so we have to have some sort of transition, but that would be directed by policy, and part of creating that policy would be us communicating and consulting with the people of Tobago.
Right, and I think I also like to put into perspective the language of Tobago has two carnivals, right? I had some years ago when we just started suggested how we think about that, right? Carnival happens 2 times in Tobago, twice, but Tobago has actually 1 carnival. Tobago is part of the National Carnival. So that's not Tobago's carnival. You with me? So that's not a Tobago carnival. I'm a creature of language and clarity, right? Tobago October Carnival is Tobago's only carnival. But carnival happens on the island twice, in February and in October. In February, that's not Tobago's carnival, that's the national carnival, of which Tobago is a part. Huh? October Carnival is Tobago's only carnival. But carnival happens in Tobago 2 times.
All right, thank you for that clarification, Dr. Thomas. All right, members of the media, no more questions? We good? All right, Secretary.
I saw it and I told CEO that we should address it.
No problem.
It's a question, and it's, it's just all spectators wanting to understand what the
Engage, yes.
experience would be like for them.
Yes.
And it goes, would they have bathrooms available other than the esplanade for spectators as well as masqueraders to use? And you see these simple questions, people want to be able to envision the experience. And I think that that is a question that requires, it may seem simple, but requires, so again, you went through the route, but I think that we can speak to, areas where we can have masqueraders and spectators be able to access a washroom facility, have a cool down area, have even a family picnic if they so desire, and so on. So can you speak now to logistics as it relates to rest, accommodation, relaxation, and so on along the route?
Great. It's actually a beautiful question. As mentioned before, we have specific viewing zones. In these viewing zones, one Market Square, one just after the Esplanade, and of course one which is lower down at the empty lots by Barcode. Those viewing zones are going to be outfitted with washroom facilities and vendors, as well as comfortable seating and safe enough for you and your children to spectate, or just you and your friends and family to enjoy a safe, comfortable zone. Yeah. If you are on the highway, yes, you can also have there will also be a bank of toilets right opposite Pentecostal Light and Life on the highway. On the other side of the road, will have a bank of toilets there for you as well. So you'll have toilets there, Market Square, Esplanade, on the waterfront, and at the start of the parade area, which is close to the Shore Park zone.
We should be calling the name of that area. It's called the Mighty Shadow
The
Boulevard.
Mighty Shadow Boulevard, not the Shore Park complex area.
We have to promote
Yes.
these new names.
Yes, so
last year.
yes, so the Calypso Rose Boulevard is going to have a larger than life accommodation for all of our spectators, as well as the Mighty Shadow area is going to be as a crossover zone for both spectators and more so masqueraders as they start. But of course, bands they will have their support structure in terms of trucks that will be able to support those things as well. Additionally, to be very clear as well, we also have medical stations, one on the highway, one in Market Square, and of course the breakout zone, which will be at the old FCB car park, which will be manned by TIMA. Yeah, so we are taking into consideration the comfort, the security, and the ease for everyone, both masqueraders, spectators, and non-masqueraders and non-spectators, because the island still is going to be alive otherwise. So we have the business sector, we have the residents in the area, we have the religious bodies. We are taking into consideration everybody, that there is equity across the board for accommodation and understanding of everybody's role and function generally. Yep.
All right. Yeah. All right. A very comprehensive update indeed. Dr. Thomas has one more thing. Just one more.
One more. And this is specifically for those who are not from Tobago. So the Trinis, the Bajans, the Jamaicans, everybody else, right? What are the things I want you to come to Tobago to experience the Tobago language? Demand that you hear we talk, we ting, because that is part of the carnival flavor, right? When you go up countryside, listen to them old people talk, and that is part. It's not just Jamaica had a nice thing, we have it here too, right? So I want to sell our language as a unique part of our carnival as well, Secretary, right? Is we island, is we thing, we only song like this, so we could sell it with the carnival, right? That's my plug, nice.
All right, and sell it we will. A very comprehensive update on the Tobago Blue Food Festival and, of course, the Tobago October Carnival celebrations. Let me say thank you very much to the Secretary with responsibility, temporary responsibility for Culture and Antiquities, the Assistant Secretary, Assemblyman George, Festival CEO, Mr. Cowan, and, of course, the Carnival Advisory Council Chair, Dr. Thomas. Thank you also to the media for being here with us. Thank you to the staff at the Department of Information for providing our technical support, and to you, our viewers, for always joining us and for asking your questions on the live stream. I'm Patricia Nicholson Richards. Enjoy the rest of your day.